What is going on, everybody? What is going on? The Catch fam, I hope you guys are doing phenomenal tonight, man. Hope you guys have all had a great Friday. I hope you guys are ready for another live 2023 fantasy football mock draft. Tonight, a little bit of a different mock as requested by J Dubs, a loyal subscriber, member of the community. We have got a 3 wide receiver mock draft to run through tonight. So, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, 1 flex spot. And we're going to have a deep bench tonight. 7 bench spots, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, I can count. So, it's going to be fun tonight. Full PPR format, if I didn't already say that. And we're not going to waste any time here. So, let me go ahead, turn off the sleeper noises. And let's get this thing started. Let me send out the last warning on Discord. And then I'm going to hit that start draft button for you guys. So, like I said, hope you guys are doing phenomenal. Draft is underway. I'm at the 1.1. And you guys can probably already guess who I'm going to draft, especially in a 3 wide receiver format. Let's just take JJ off the board and let's hop right into this thing. So hit that like button on the way in, guys. Let's try and get as many likes on the stream as possible. If you guys are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button so you can hear me talk about fantasy football and have another fantasy football guy in your algorithm. And regardless, thank you guys for being here tonight. Hop in the live chat. Most important part of the intro. Let me know how you guys are doing. Any fantasy football topics you guys want to go over tonight, redraft, dynasty, best ball, whatever it may be, let me know. Any NFL topics you guys want to hit, let me know. All right, let's take a look at the news for the day. Breaking news. Not really breaking anymore, but the NFL has suspended Saints running back Alvin Kamara 3 games for his role in a fight outside a Las Vegas nightclub in 2022. Kamara reached a plea agreement in July and no longer is facing a felony charge for his role in the fight that occurred before the Pro Bowl in February 2022. So, I feel like we've been waiting for this forever. Like, we thought this was going to happen last season. We were talking about this last offseason. Here it finally is. From a fantasy perspective, let's just keep it pure fantasy here. This is good news. You know, I was still encouraging you guys to get some shares of Alvin Kamara in best ball drafts, you know, even recently in redraft drafts, it's like a RB3, RB4. I really didn't think there was a ton of risk. I didn't think he was going to face more than a 6-game suspension. And I talked about, 4-game suspension being possible as well. I was wrong on both accounts. It's a, 3-game suspension is good from a fantasy perspective. If you own him in Dynasty, like, it's not like the long term is great, but for this season, it's not bad. If you already have shares of him in best ball, then that's probably not too bad either. A 3-game suspension, and to be specific, the first 3 games of the season is not that bad. And I talked about that, like, you go back to the year that Zeke got suspended. There's kind of 2 ways to look at it. If a player gets suspended towards the end of the year, well, then maybe he helps you get to the playoffs. The difference here is that Alvin Kamara, while he misses the first 3 weeks of the season, those first 3 weeks aren't extremely crucial to your fantasy season. You see a lot of teams that start 1 and 2, 0 and 3, whatever it may be, and end up doing pretty well, making the playoffs, maybe even advancing through the playoffs. You see a lot of teams that start 3 and 0, 2 and 1, and then a lot of things change, and that team doesn't always end up being as successful. So, point being is that Alvin Kamara missing the first 3 games of the season is not really going to impact your fantasy season too drastically. Now, obviously, you're not going to have a starting running back potentially for those couple of weeks, but he's not being drafted as a starting running back. He hasn't been all offseason long, so it's going to be interesting to see how his ADP changes. And, he's still ranked in between Aaron Jones and Dameon Pierce. In between, let's make it a little bit broader. Kenneth Walker, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara, Dameon Pierce, J.K. Dobbins, Miles Sanders, Alexander Madison, I think that's pretty fair where Sleeper has him ranked. I don't know off the top of my head, believe it or not, with how many mocks have been running lately, if he moved back at all or not. But nonetheless, I am still willing to take a chance on Kamara 100%. Last year was not great by any means, but he was still your RB 16 in fantasy. He only played in 15 games. He had a pretty good stretch there, weeks 5 through 8. So, let me go. I almost accidentally drafted Kamara, which would have not been good. This is a little bit of a tough pick right here. Give me Calvin Ridley. And, I could reach for another wide receiver here or go DK Metcalf, but I'm going to take one running back off the board. I'm going to go Jahmyr Gibbs here. So, yeah, when you look at last year, it really truly wasn't that bad. But I remember towards the end of the year encouraging a lot of fantasy managers at end stretch through the playoffs to start Alvin Kamara. Week 15 against Atlanta, great matchup. Week 16 against Cleveland, another great matchup. He played well in those games, 12.4 points and 19 points respectively. Then kind of had a bum game in Week 17 against Philly. Then if you did have to play through Week 18, 12 points there, not too bad. But nonetheless, start of the year kind of awful. Missed 2 games, 7.6 or less points through the first 4 games. But that Week 5 through Week 8 stretch, 18 or more fantasy points in each of those games with a high of 42 points against the abysmal Raiders defense. And then after that, it was pretty stagnant, 9.2, 7.5, 12.9, 7, 5.7 before he reached that last point we just talked about through the fantasy playoffs. So, when we look at this backfield, Jamal Williams is obviously there now. He's going to get some touches. Kendre Miller is going to be involved in this offense and have an opportunity to step up. But I still think with the skill set that Kamara brings to the table, this is the guy. So you have to account for him not being there for the first 3 games. That's going to affect your overall roster construction and your draft strategy. Probably be kind of a pain. So am I completely against drafting him? No. Do I absolutely love him? Probably not. But like I've talked about already, he's a great best ball option. And I still think as a RB3, RB4, if you can construct your roster appropriately without, ruining other potential spots on your roster, I'm completely fine with Kamara. The interesting thing, I think, in terms of ADP, is not so much where's Kamara going to go. That's going to be important to know, but we're going to need a couple of days for that to kind of fizzle out. Same in when Alexander Madison, the Dalvin Cook news, he was getting drafted wildly way too high, and then things have kind of, settled back appropriately. But the 2 players that are going to be really interesting to watch over the next week are going to be Kendre Miller and Jamal Williams, because those 2 guys are going to split the carries the first 3 weeks of the season. And I like Kendre Miller a lot. I do. But I still think Jamal Williams is going to get the bulk of those touches. So it's going to be interesting to see how those guys kind of rise in ADP potentially. So let me know you guys' thoughts on the Alvin Kamara situation. And we'll go from there. The Colts signed running back Kenyon Drake. So there's news. The Cardinals are signing running back Marlon Mack. So the Cardinals sign a former Colts running back. And the Colts sign a former Cardinals running back. It's an exciting time for the running back position. Both those guys may or may not make their respective teams. Doesn't really impact anything, in my opinion. Drake, I still feel like Deion Jackson and Evan Hull are better, but Drake could definitely make things confusing. We look at the Cardinals, I still think Connor is going to be, 3 down back. Did read a report today that the Seahawks are planning on Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker both being ready for week 1. So if you're still scared about either guy, like I said, the day we got the news, don't be scared. Eli Mitchell's hurt. Surprise. An abductor strain. Day-to-day, likely to miss 7 to 10 days. Should be fine. And that's about it. Kamara was the big news of the day. And we kind of knew that was coming, but yeah. That's the big one of the day. Was pretty exciting, I guess, to finally get that out of the way. Like, we've had all these little, like, you know, things that we've needed to get out of the way throughout the offseason. When is Aaron Rodgers going to actually be on the Jets? When is Lamar Jackson going to do his thing? We still have the Josh Jacobs thing happening, and now the Jonathan Taylor thing is the latest thing happening. We've had Barkley, Eckler, so I feel like JT Jacobs is the last of the offseason saga. But don't quote me. If I'm missing something else, let me know. Let me know. All right. So I'm going to move ahead. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm going to go ahead and make these next two selections. And then I will hop into the live chat. Thank you guys for being here tonight, man. Yeah, 3 wide receivers. I've not practiced for this format in a while. There's no way I'm passing up Kenneth Walker as my RB2 right here. And then I'll just take Ayuk. I mean, I'll take that all day long. Gibbs, Walker, JJ, Calvin Ridley, Brandon Ayuk. I'm feeling pretty good as we move into the 5th round. All right. Happy Friday, guys. Let's see who's in the live chat. Brandon, what's going on, man? How are you doing? Thank you for drafting with us tonight. J-Dubs, what's going on, man? Hope this ends up being a good practice for your respective league. Dicer, what's going on, man? Hello, hello. Walido says Kamara season, baby. Let's go. Saints, who that? Cats, what's up, man? J Fitness, hello. Hope you guys are all doing great. Cat says Chris Olave stock's going down. You know, for me, the Chris Olave equation, it never particularly mattered what Alvin Kamara's status was going to be one way or another. You're probably right that, those, first, whenever Kamara's not there, those first 3 games, he probably will, have more targets. But I think overall he'll be fine, whether Kamara's playing or not. Thomas, what's going on, man? How we doing? Andrea, hello. Pete, what's going on, man? Alvin only getting 3 NFL Saints bias continues. Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, I guess because it was reduced from a felony to misdemeanor, it ended up not being... Like, I feel like if it was a felony, they probably would have suspended him for more games. But there's just no telling... when it comes to suspensions with the NFL, like, there's just truly no telling who's going to get as harsh of a punishment, what harsh punishment's actually going to be. So, yeah, 3 games it is. Chase, how are you doing? Good to see you, man. J Fitness, picking 8th in my redraft, 1 quarterback, 12-team, 1 PPR league, 2 RBs, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, a tight end. Thoughts on going Bijan at 8 if Tyreek doesn't fall and doubling up with Chubb in round 2? I mean, I'm perfectly okay with going Bijan at 8 if he's there. I prefer going Bijan at 8 if he's there. But if it's full PPR, 2 RBs, 2 wide receivers, a flex, I'm going wide receiver with that second pick. I'm just, when it comes to roster construction, a 1 flex, full PPR league, I'm either starting aggressive at wide receiver or I'm going hero running back. So for me, I go Bijan in the first, and then I'm probably taking my wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, and flex off the board in the next 3 picks after that personally. But, just for me, going 2 running backs in the first round is not really something that I personally do. If you're going to go 2 running backs in the first round, don't get me wrong, Bijan and Chubb is great, though. Boxes, it's Henry Season Boys. Chase says, Kamara as an RB2 sounds good to me. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you just have to kind of construct a unique roster. You're probably going for, like, an early running back that you can depend on. Then getting Kamara at his, ADP. And then, like, you're probably going to have to draft, like, two running backs in that same range as Kamara is, I think, probably the only way you can really piece it together there. So, like, you might have to get, like, an Antonio Gibson. I mean, maybe not exactly where Kamara is going, but, yeah, like a Antonio Gibson and Isaiah Pacheco, Gibson and Javonte Williams, Dylan and Cook. I don't know, like two of those guys. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll try and throw together a draft this week where I try and get Kamara included and actually throw together a roster that I like. So, I mean, like Walito's team tonight. So, Kamara goes at the 6.8. Kupp, Moore, Brown. He's got his wide receiver 1, 2, and 3 in this format. Then Pollard and Taylor. Then Kamara is an RB3. Like, I think that's perfectly fine for that particular build. All right, so I need to take a look here. Who do I want to draft? It's a tough pick right here. I was hoping Dotson would fall. I knew he wasn't going to, but it's a tough pick. Some good players available right here. It's really hard to... I've been fading quarterback like crazy lately. I need to stop, but I'm going to take Zay Flowers here as my flex option. I don't care how early it is. I really don't. I'm going to miss him if I don't take him. I'm looking pretty good at running back, but there's a couple running backs I like here. But I'll take DeAndre Swift. I like Monty there. I don't mind Gibson. I like Pacheco. But I'm going to take Swift. Give me some upside. I like him behind Gibbs and Kenneth Walker. But, yeah, really hard to pass on Trevor Lawrence right there as well. But other than that, I feel pretty good. I mean, that is the earliest. I mean, you could argue maybe I get Zay Flowers at 8.12, but when I'm drafting with you guys, that's not happening. And I'm tired of not drafting Zay Flowers. And he is, when I'm looking at the wide receivers who are available, the wide receiver that I want the most. I mean, Evans, sure. Quentin Johnston, sure. But overall, that's the guy I want. And, like, now we're seeing, like, Elijah Moore go in that same range. It's like, it's August. People are going to go out and get their guys. So, especially, we have quite a few teams going heavy wide receiver in this format. So, I feel like some of these wide receivers' ADPs are pushed back a little bit tonight. Godfather, what's going on, man? Always good to see you. Dicer, when we're going to do our leagues, I'm probably going to make that announcement this weekend. So, stay posted on Discord. Cats, look who's come around to Ridley. Sorry, the Ridley train. Sorry, we're full. Yeah, I mean, I have always liked Ridley. I think that range, Ridley, Cooper, Metcalf, London, I don't really mind any of those guys, but I like the idea of Calvin Ridley behind Justin Jefferson. I think my main, the main qualm I've had with drafting Calvin Ridley is I just prefer drafting Christian Kirk later on. But I knew this was going to be a heavy wide receiver draft, and there was a good chance I was not going to be able to land Christian Kirk at like the 4.12. So, I mean, Kirk at the 4.7, DJ Moore at the 4.8. And drafting with you guys, I know better that those guys aren't going to be there for me. So, yeah, tonight I felt like was a good night to go and snag Ridley. I mean, if I don't go Ridley there, it probably is Metcalf, but I really like Cooper, and I still really like London. But I do like this start tonight for myself, just fine. But, that's not even the earliest we've seen Calvin Ridley go in a mock. And I think for a 3 wide receiver format, this is probably going to be a format where you're at the wide receiver position, you're going to see, fantasy managers go out and get their guys reach a little bit at the wide receiver position. All right, let's see. Andrea was predicting round 5 or 6 for Kamara. Yeah, 6.8 tonight. But this might not be the best ADP to look at. Being a 3 wide receiver format, things might be just a little bit different than normal. But frankly, looking at the board, not really. It's pretty typical so far. I guess the later rounds are just going to be a little bit deeper. Return of the Mac. That's right. You know we love Marlon Mack here at the channel. Nick, I missed this one. I'm probably running a basic mock draft for a video right after the stream, so just stay posted, stay in the chat. I'll drop it there before I drop it anywhere else. But I'm going to try and record a video for tomorrow after the stream. Yeah, for anyone interested in the redraft leagues, I probably will be making that announcement this weekend. Man, I wanted Cortland Sutton here. The Sutton hype's getting real. I don't know if it's even hype. I think it's just Tim Patrick's out. Sutton was not great last year, but he was not awful. I'm excited to draft some late round wide receivers tonight. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen. Man, Gibson's a good pick right there. I didn't even know he was available. I'm really starting to warm up to Brian Robinson as well. Goddard is a steal right there. Like, I mean, there's no way I was going to pass on Goddard if he was still sitting there. Goddard is a great pick. There's some good players available right now. Give me Watson. It's very close. There's some really good players available right now. I'm going to take Sky Moore off the board, and we'll move along. Some really, really good players available right now. I like A.J. Dillon in that range. I still really like Brian Robinson, even if Gibson's just been selected. There's some good tight ends available as we see Freiermuth gone now. But I still really like the start. I feel like I've been fading quarterback too much lately, and I feel like Watson at the 8.12 is a good value, but Goddard at the 8.11 is ridiculous. All right. Let's move along. I like this team tonight. I'm actually setting a queue. I usually don't do this during the streams. I just kind of do my thing, but all right. Let's see. What's going on, Doug? Tommy says, why waste your time on Kamara 6.8? I'd rather go Pacheco, Rashad White, etc. Yeah, I mean, I probably prefer those guys as well, but it just kind of depends on your roster construction. Like, you know, if like you're going to, let's say you're going to hero running back. Let's say you go Bijan, Devonta Smith, Metcalf, DJ Moore. And then you're drafting two running backs back-to-back. You go Rashad White and Alvin Kamara. Like, that's a pretty good start. Go Miles Sanders, Alvin Kamara. I could see, like, a scenario like that happening where you still land a player like a Rashad White. The Pacheco, you know, might go in the 6th round, might go in the 7th. He kind of fluctuates, so. But, I mean, you got to go ahead and get your guys, you know. But I do think there's going to be enough rosters where Kamara makes sense. And here's the other thing that typically happens, you know, if you know a player is going to miss time. So if Kamara's going to miss the first 3 games, you know, it's not going to be out of the question. Like, you know, Walito could have gone Jamal Williams at 9.5, for example. Walito can still draft Kendre Miller late, for example. So you're going to see a lot of teams who are going to draft Kamara at 6.8, have 2 good running backs behind him, like Tony Pollard and Jonathan Taylor, and then draft Jamal Williams late or Kendre Miller late, and then potentially even take a 5th running back on top of that as well. So it's going to depend on the overall roster. Albert, how are you doing tonight? Hello, hello. Chase, are you liking Ayuk as a wide receiver 300%? 110%. I mean, Ayuk was your wide receiver 15 last year. I even like him as a wide receiver 2 in some roster constructions for sure. So I'm pretty high on Ayuk. I've talked about that throughout the offseason for sure. All right, what do I want to do as we approach the end of the 10th and go into the 11th round? Man, I was hoping a chain would fall there. It's a good pick, Andrea. I like your team, Andrea. Looks good. See, and like I've been fading tight end too much. I knew it was just tough at the 8-12. I felt like Watson was a good value, and I knew if I didn't take Sky Moore there's no way I was going to get him. And I'm getting to the point where I'm too confident in the fact that Cole Kmet might come to me at any point in the 10th or the 11th. But I feel like if you don't have a mid or early 10th round pick, you might not want to bank on that. I don't really love this tier of running backs. Jeez. And that was the other thing. I was going to go Brian Robinson. There's just a lot of good players at the last turn. I was surprised. So, and there's like, I don't know, there's quite a few wide receivers I like right here, but we have 5 pretty studly wide receivers. So, I mean, let's take Dulcich off the board. Let's get our tight end. I'm thinking about doing something super out of pocket for me. I mean, it's a deep bench tonight, but it's hard not to go running back here. I thought about doing something out of pocket, but I'm going to take a handcuff running back. Give me Algier. I almost took 2 tight ends right there. It makes more sense to go running back here. I almost took Dalton Kincaid. Felt like Dulcich, Kincaid would be a pretty nice combo to go into the year with. Bossman says Treylon Burks has been looking good in camp footage. Yeah, he's the type of player who's going to look good in camp footage. We have to be careful when it comes to camp footage. You know, you don't want to overreact to like your rankings, personal rankings that you're seeing out there, whatever it may be, because a lot of players look really good in camp. You know, it's easy to watch one highlight of a player and just automatically like have them shoot up your draft board. So I just be careful with it is all. But Burks is kind of being slept on. I'm not super high on him because I'm not super high on Tennessee, but I do think, you know, like looking at your build, he's your wide receiver 5. That's a good place to have Burks for sure. And I do think the addition of DeAndre Hopkins is actually going to help out Treylon Burks a lot. I think he had way too much pressure in his rookie season, dealing with injuries and whatever it may be, you know, trying to go out there and be the wide receiver 1. I just don't think he was ready for it. I think, whoa, I just changed your draft pick by accident. That was so weird. Okay, I changed it back. That was really weird. I don't know why that happened. But anyways, I do think that, you know, he could end up being a good value. I feel so weird about Tennessee's offense other than Derrick Henry that I don't know. But he did start to have that little spurt. You know, 18 points in week 11, 17 in week 12, and then was on pace for a very good game against Philly in week 13 before he got hurt. 9.5 points off of 1 catch. It was a 25-yard touchdown catch that he got hurt on. And that was when he missed essentially the next 3 weeks. So all right, let's see. Let me get caught up here. Thomas, for some reason, I'm starting to like Dameon Pierce. Yeah, I like Pierce at his current range as well. I don't have a problem with Dameon Pierce. Once again, I don't love the Texans' offense, so I'm like, meh. But overall, I don't have a problem with him. Was wondering when Kendre Miller was going to go. I thought about going Kendre Miller with one of my last picks. I think I'm probably going back-to-back wide receiver with these next 2 picks. There's a lot of wide receivers who've gone the last 2 rounds that I really like in this range. Jacoby Myers, Romeo Doubs, Darnell Mooney. Marvin Mims, Rashid Shaheed, Van Jefferson. I think there's a pretty fair argument for Zay Jones, Rashid Rice, Mingo. DPJ is off the board. I like him in this range. Hey, I'm excited to kind of see some late round wide receiver action. So there's no kicker, no defense tonight, guys. You have 4 more selections overall. I like this little team tonight. I don't know. I might take another running back here. Because I kind of already have a committee guy at the end of this draft. I don't know. I kind of just want to go back-to-back wide receivers. I kind of want to take Anthony Richardson and throw him behind Watson. But I'm going to take Alec Pierce. It's going to be really boring. I'm going to go 1 wide receiver, 1 running back. I'll take Jerome Ford here. Man, when is Zeke going to sign with the team? Yeah, I've actually, throughout the night, I usually don't feel this way from the 1.1. But tonight have felt like there's been pretty good value every turn. So I'm pretty happy with that. All right, let's see. Andrew, I've been drafting tight end late. Yeah. I have been pretty aggressively drafting tight end late, but I feel like I need to get that switched up a bit. Like, I feel like when I'm there at like the 8.12, 9.1, I should have gone Freiermuth or Ingram over Watson and taken Sky Moore. And like late round quarterback builds tonight are eaten. You know, we're in the 13th round and Tua just went. So no quarterback was selected between the 8.12 and the 13.4. So Tua just got taken, but Richardson, Cousins, Rodgers, Geno, Danny Dimes, Jared Goff, Dangerous, Kyler, they're all on the board. So I could have skipped Watson there, gone like Freiermuth or Ingram, gone Sky Moore. Then at the 10.12, still got Algier and gone like Romeo Dobbs, Jacoby Myers. And then at the 12.12, 13.1, gone like 2 quarterbacks or just 1 quarterback. So, woulda, shoulda, coulda. J-Dub says, I'm fading running back. The RB teams will need to talk to me eventually. Okay, part of your strategy, I suppose. After the review, Pete says, Saints sleeper defense. They play like 2 good quarterbacks. They could be. They could be. Last year, though, I kind of aggressively felt like they could be a sleeper defense. And they were really disappointing. And I don't quite know if they've done anything to get any better this offseason, you know? But yeah, I mean, obviously, when we're looking at the division, you know, Ritter's probably going to have some struggles this year. And then you got Baker or Kyle Trask is going to be out there. So, I mean, those 2 teams on a regular basis are probably going to be pretty nice. And then, like, yeah, I mean, you got a rookie Bryce Young, so it's probably a good point. I just think they were so disappointing last year. I mean, they were a top 8 defense 3 years in a row, got far better throughout last offseason than were your defense 15 last year. Just really disappointing. And, you know, they just didn't create a lot of turnovers last year. They didn't give up that many yards. But they had at least 13 interceptions in the past 3 years, 18 in the last 2 years. And they only had 7 last year. So double-digit drop. They had 11 forced fumbles and 6 fumble recoveries, which is not bad at all. And even in comparison to the last couple years. And they had 48 sacks, which was the highest since 2019. It's just the picks really dropped. And, you know, they gave up 321 points, which is not awful. But the interceptions dropping really hurt them last year. No, I wanted Kenneth Gainwell. I needed Kenny. I'll take Isaiah Hodgins. I like him right here. How many wide receivers do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's probably fine. I'll take Higbee. He's looked good in training camp. I'm going to overreact. Let me see if I can. There we go. Sorry, I'm not used to this many bench spots. All right, let's see. Tommy, I did see Jalen Hyatt ran 24 miles per hour in practice. Yeah, I just think you have to be really careful overreacting to fast players in training camp and fast players in practice. We've kind of seen this traditionally over the years. Speed is great, but, game speed is a completely different thing. And I do think, Hyatt's, in terms of a prospect, I mean, that's kind of his thing, is over-the-top speed. But there's obviously so much more that goes into, what he's going to potentially bring to the table as a player. So I still like Hyatt as a late-round dart throw, but there are other players I think worth a shot in that range overall. But still a very fast recorded time, of course. Yeah, 2 was a great value tonight, Andrea. Taylor, what's going on, man? What I missed today, just got home from work, haven't checked any NFL news today. Oh, yeah. Well, there you go. Kamara suspended 3 games. That's the big news of the day. All right, we'll do some quick team reviews here. Why not? And I do want to try and hop into a mock right after this with you guys. Just a basic 12-team mock, 1 flex. So I can get that recorded for a video. So if you guys are around, we'll do that. I'll drop it in the chat shortly. Got that pulled up. All right, let me know if you guys want a team review. Interesting draft tonight. Walido. Tua. Russ. Kittle. Pollard, Taylor, Kamara, Penny, McKinnon. I think that's a pretty good build for Kamara build, given the circumstances. How would you feel about going Jamal Williams over Rashad Penny, though? Especially still getting McKinnon. Cup, DJ Moore, Brown, Sutton, Myers, DPJ, very good wide receivers. Oh, you got Chase Brown hiding down there, too. So let's just see. You're starting 2-1 Kittle, Pollard and Taylor, Cup, Moore, Brown, flexing Sutton. Kamara, Penny, McKinnon, Myers, DPJ, Chase Brown, Wilson on the bench. I like this team a lot. The only thing I would say is, over Chase Brown, I'm probably taking another wide receiver in that range. I will say wide receiver depth in the 3 wide receiver format is going to be pretty important. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would aim for 7 wide receivers, especially with this many bench spots. I like the additional wide receiver there. But I do like this team a lot. I think it's a solid squad. All right, let's see. J Fitness. Hurts and Goff. That's fine. Hawkinson, you're good there. Hall, Akers, Monty, Charbs, Zeke. Someone's going to draft Zeke. Running backs look fine. A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Juju, Tony, Mooney, Gallup, Chark. You've got the depth here. I think 7 is a good number in this format. So I'm good at that. I'm not super high on Tony in the 9th, but it's not like there's great options there. So Gallup and Chark, not my favorite late-round guys, but late-round guys are late-round guys, right? So let's see. You're starting Hurts and T-Hawk, Hall and Akers, Brown and Wilson, and Juju. And then flexing Monty. Could flex Mooney, maybe. That's the thing. Like, I want his, I don't know. You just have to be, like, really confident in those bench wide receivers you draft. And I also want that third wide receiver to kind of be a stud. You know, and I just don't think Juju's ceiling super high. So that'd be my only notes. But I also think in a full PPR format here, you want to try and flex a wide receiver over a running back, which maybe happens as the season goes on. But I do like Charbs as your RB4, though. So some notes here, but at least your primary wide receiver 1 and 2 are like absolute studs, right? All right, let's see. Box says his team makes him want to throw up. Josh Allen and Njoku. That's fine. My voice just cracked. Henry, Harris, Sanders, Spears, CEH. Yeah, I'm not super high on CH by any means, and I don't love Spears. I think he's a decent handcuff. I'm just, as athletic as he is, I'm just worried about his knees. But in that range, it's like, I don't know. Chuba, Gainwell, Chase Brown are like the only names that I like with who is available. Zeke is still like, I don't know. Diggs, Dotson, QJ, Thomas, Beckham, Dobbs, Shaheed, Marvin Jones. I mean, I do think you got some good later round wide receivers here. But problem is your wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 3 could be really good this year, and Dotson and Quentin Johnston, but I just prefer, maybe over Najee Harris. And not that I don't like Najee Harris, but maybe go Watson, Kirk, or DJ Moore. Still get Sanders at the 5.8. Then maybe you replace like Michael Thomas with like Cook or Gibson. I would like that build a little bit more. But nonetheless, we're going to have Josh Allen, David Njoku, Henry and Harris, Diggs, Dotson, Johnston starting. Then at your flex, I mean, you are in a good position for your flex, in my opinion. Miles Sanders, Romeo Dobbs, Rashid Shaheed, Beckham, Michael Thomas, if he is alive, are all options that could be in the flex. So you got some depth there. I think Spears, Marvin Jones, CEH are probably kind of sitting on the bench and kind of seeing how their seasons shape out. But I don't think this team is as bad as you think it is. I do think Dotson and Quentin Johnston were good values, but Dotson truly has to have that year that we think he's going to have, and Quentin Johnston has to come along quickly in his rookie season, which both of those things could easily happen. But you are kind of banking on the upside there for stability at running back and an early round quarterback, which is, I don't know, it's not the end of the world, but I like Dobbs and Shaheed where you got them a lot. I think they really help solidify this draft for you, though. Boss man, we got T-Law and Geno. I can take that combo all day long. Those late round quarterbacks tonight were just incredible values. Cole Kmet, I love him in the 10th. Next time, just leave him for me. Jacobs, Jones, Brian Robinson, Kendre Miller. I mean, you're pretty light at running back. It's not the end of the world, but I do think you got good values throughout the draft. I mean, Jacobs, we're just playing hypotheticals here. Like, kind of the issue is why I don't really mock Josh Jacobs is because he's a good value to 3.6, for example, but you're not going to, by the time the season starts and we're drafting, more than likely we're going to know what's going on with Josh Jacobs. More than likely, I mean, we might not. But if we do, like, you're not going to get the rest of this team with Josh Jacobs at the 3.6, so it's just hard to evaluate. But if he does truly hold out into the season, then you could end up drafting this team, I suppose. But Hill, Waddle, I'm not afraid to stack those guys. Kirk, Addison, Burks, Thielen, Reed, Renfro. That's fine for wide receivers here. You're starting T-Law and Kmet. Hopefully Jacobs and Jones, but maybe Jones and Robinson, which I still think is okay. Starting Hill, Waddle, and Kirk, flexing Addison or Burks. I can live with that. I mean, your bench is essentially Thielen, Miller, Jaden Reed, Geno, Renfro. I do like the starting lineup. The big question mark for you is Josh Jacobs. But, yeah, other than that, it looks pretty good to me, man. Dubby, hope this was good practice for you tonight, man, for your respective home league. But let's see here. Lamar and Captain Kirk. Andrews and Kincaid. I mean, you're good on both accounts there. Quarterback and tight end. Bijan, Cook, Foreman, Mostart, and Davis there at the bottom. Maybe a little action out of Malik Davis. Devonta, Mike Williams, Pittman, Evans, Bateman, J-Mo. So not the craziest squad, but I think a pretty well-constructed roster in terms of just stability going into the year. So we're starting Lamar and Andrews, Bijan and Cook, true hero running back build. Starting Devonta, Mike Williams, Pittman, and probably flexing Mike Evans. So that leaves Bateman, J-Mo, Kincaid, Foreman, Mostart, Cousins, and Davis on the bench. Pretty decent, nothing crazy. How do you feel about it, as a mock for your respective league? Cats. What's up, Cats? Fields. I like Fields at the 6'4". Waller and Laporta, that's fine. Barkley, Etienne, Mitchell, Roschon, and Gus the Bus. I'm okay with that because I personally think Barkley and Etienne will have good years. Good enough handcuffs at the end there. St. Brown, Debo, Lockett, Davis, Collins, Mims, Woods. So let's see here. You're starting Fields and Waller, Barkley and Etienne, St. Brown, Debo, Lockett, flexing Davis. That leaves Collins, Mims, Woods, Mitchell, Roschon, Edwards, and Laporta on the bench. I mean, not my favorite bench guys, but not the worst. I do like Mims in the 12th. Mitchell and Roschon are fine where he got them. I'm not out on Nico Collins. I'm just confused about that Texans offense right now. So I'm okay with it. I do like your starting lineup. How do you feel about it? Andrea, what do we do tonight? I have liked your team throughout the draft. So let's see how it's shaped out here. Prescott, Ingram, good there. Dobbins, White, Pacheco, A-Chain, Bigsby, Zamir White. I'm okay with that. Pretty good running back room. Lamb, Olave, London, Watson. I mean, I love that start. I mean, really, whether you go Kirk, DJ Moore, or Watson at the 4-6, this is a great start. You could go Waddle at the 2-6 over Olave, but I don't mind Olave there. I do like London here at the 3-7, but you could also go Debo, I guess. But I like London just fine. It's a little early in some people's eyes for CeeDee Lamb, but I don't mind CeeDee Lamb right here. I don't even mind Amon-Ra or A.J. Brown right there. I don't mind Diggs right there. I don't really mind Garrett Wilson right there. I don't mind Eckler or Barkley. The first round is crazy this year. I think it's a very good team, Andrea. Rest of your wide receivers, J.J. and Hyatt, Paris Campbell, trying to get just some sort of piece from the Giants offense. I like Van Jefferson a lot in the 12th. I like a lot of your late round players tonight, Andrea. Anyways, so you're starting Prescott and Ingram, Dobbins and White, or White and Pacheco if Dobbins isn't there. Lamb, Olave, London, flexing Watson. That's a great team, Andrea. A-Chain, Bigsby, Van Jefferson, Hyatt, Zamir White, and Campbell on the bench. Potentially Pacheco on the bench as well. So it's a good-looking squad. I love that start for you. I mean, that's when I originally started tonight's mock, that's how I envisioned starting this draft, was 4 wide receivers out of the gate. But just where I was drafting from, I would have been reaching, which I'm not particularly afraid to do. But anyways, this is the only team that went 4 wide receivers to start, and I think it worked out pretty well. So I like that team a lot, Andrea. It might be my team of the night. All right, Brendan's at the 111. What we do tonight, man? A-Rich and no one else. That's bold. I like Richardson, but I would still draft another quarterback behind him. You know, you probably could have got Josh Downs in the 15th if you wanted to forfeit in Conquo, and you could have gotten like Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins, Daniel Jones with Richardson. I would still do that. I think A-Rich is going to have a decent rookie year, but I think he's going to have a better sophomore year than his rookie year. As much upside he brings to the table, as much rushing upside he brings to the table, I still think there's going to be rookie struggles there because, especially if JT's not there, and I'm not saying that he's not going to be there, but look at this offense. You know, Pittman, Josh Downs, Alec Pierce. They have a number of tight ends. Don't get me wrong, but the offensive line has gotten really bad over the last year or two. And as much as I like Pittman, as much as I like Alec Pierce, and as much as I'm a fan of a young Josh Downs, there's still something missing from this offense. You know what I mean? So I would draft a second quarterback with a Rich, as much as I do like the upside that Richardson brings to the table. But Kelsey and Nkonkwo, I mean, you're fine there. Pierce, Madison, good there. I'm sorry. Pierce, Madison, Cook, Jamal Williams, Herbert, Singletary. For kind of a late round running back build, it's fine. Adams, Allen, Hopkins, Pickens, Mingo, Downs. Okay. I like that the second half of your draft you did go with some younger guys overall. Because the first half of your draft was very wide receiver or veteran wide receiver heavy. So, but overall, I mean, looks pretty decent here. We're starting Richardson, which, like I said, you don't want to rely on a rookie quarterback, no matter who it is. I mean, look at Trevor Lawrence and his rookie season, whoever it may be. Last year we don't have a lot of good examples. Kenny Pickett, but Trevor Lawrence, even Joe Burrow, which isn't really fair because he got hurt. But overall, rookie quarterbacks past couple years outside of like Justin Herbert, you just want to pump the brakes. There's always some growing pains there. But Richardson's going to have his moments. He's going to have struggles too. But A-Rich, Kelsey, Pierce, Madison, Adams, Allen, Hopkins, probably flexing Pickens. That gives you Cook, Jamal, Herbert, Mingo, Singletary, Downs, and Nkonkwo on the bench, all as flex options. Pretty good squad. Big thing for me is just the quarterback position. But other than that, I'm fine with it. All right, let's see. All right, let's roast my team. Watson at quarterback. Dulcich and Higbee at tight end. Higbee's going to start climbing up the rankings again. I really, truly believe it. If we're talking about training camp hype, Stafford's healthy, and he is targeting Tyler Higbee a lot in training camp. And Higbee is showing up. Was your tight end 6 last year. So I like him behind a player like Dulcich, Kmet, even Njoku, Schultz. But he might climb up a little bit in ADP. All right, Gibbs, Walker, Swift. I love those first 3 running backs. Just a tremendous amount of upside between those guys. Algier and Ford, 2 good handcuffs. I kind of got put in a position where I had to kind of take, if I didn't go a running back at 8-12 or 9-1, I was stuck getting 2 committee handcuff guys, and I'm okay with those 2 guys. I prefer a 4th running back, and if I had known so many quarterbacks were just going to go super late, I would have gotten another running back at 8-12, and it would have been Brian Robinson. A.J. Dillon's fine there too, but I'm still okay with it because I love those first 3 guys. But J.J. Ridley, Ayuk, Flowers, I love that start. I'm just not afraid to reach for Flowers anymore, especially with you guys. Sky Moore, Pierce, Hodgins, I like that wide receiver room. But, late round wide receivers, I think there are definitely guys that I really prefer, but they're still late round wide receivers for a reason. So, anyways, we're starting Watson and Dulcich, Gibbs and Walker, J.J. Ridley, Ayuk, and then in that flex, Zay Flowers, DeAndre Swift, Sky Moore are all options. Even Alec Pierce and Isaiah Hodgins to a degree. And even to a small degree, Tyler Higbee, but I probably wouldn't do that. Algier and Ford are going to stay on my bench, and I'm probably going to try and keep Pierce and Hodgins on the bench, but they could be flex options. But, yeah, I'd probably have Swift in the flex to start the year, which I'm okay with, but I like having Flowers as that option, and I like having, if I need to replace that wide receiver 3, Flowers, Sky Moore, Pierce, Hodgins, all as options. So I'm okay with this team. I got a lot better value tonight at the 1.1 than I thought I would. And I really felt like at each turn I was actually pretty happy with the available players. Almost too happy at times. But I think it was a pretty good draft. All right, let's see. All right, so I guess that gets us caught up here. So I'm going to go ahead and send out the second mock draft. It is just a basic full PPR 12-team, 1-flex mock. And we're going to try and record that shortly. And we'll run through that. That'll do it for tonight's stream. John, so your boy Kenny Gainwell getting all the reps in the 2-minute drill. Let's go. That's my guy. I've also seen a lot of involvement out of DeAndre Swift in training camp, which I like to see as well. Yeah, I wanted Gainwell in this draft. Thanks a lot, Astra. But all right, guys, I will let you know when the second mock is starting as long as we get it filled. And then we'll roll through that for a video. And can we get a... What are you asking, J-Dubs? Can we get a draft of the video? A team of the video? Can we get a... Wait, what are you asking me? Can we get a team of the night? Sorry. Andrea, for sure. I really like this team. Yeah. Prescott, Ingram, Dobbins, White Pacheco. Either way. Lamb, Olave, London, flexing Watson. Potentially Pacheco on the bench or Dobbins on the bench. A-Chain, Bigsby, Van Jefferson, Hyatt, Zamir White, Paris Campbell on the bench. That's my team. My team. And video review. Team. Stop it, cats. I could probably. Oh, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. And the mock that we're gonna run after this, for the video, do a team of the night. Okay. You guys are cracking me up, man. All right, yeah, I'll try and add that into the video. That's a good idea, J-Dubs. Thank you. I'm sorry. It's late. That made my mouth hurt. All right, guys, thank you for hanging out tonight, man. Thank you to those of you guys who did draft with me. J-Dubs, hope this was good practice for you. Thank you for the request. And that'll wrap things up for the night. So, guys, there's 4 spots left in the second mock. Make sure you join if you want to mock. Link is in the chat. I'll send it again here at the bottom. And I'm going to post it in Discord, and we'll get that mock going shortly here. So, everyone have a great start to your weekend. You guys be safe. And hit me up on Discord or Instagram if you guys need anything. Hit the like, subscribe. Check out the links down below. Discord, Instagram, all that good stuff. And that'll wrap it up for the night. So, love you guys, man. Love this community. Love the Catch fam. Talk to you guys tomorrow. With that, I will say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on the Catch. And